Hey y'all, it's your boy Rico,
And Sam.
and today we are going to cover our second episode of our C episode, which is coming out experiences. You want to start?
Yes. Sure.
Okay, let's hear it.
So my coming out came kind of in steps. I know I discussed it before, but I first came out as genderqueer many years ago. Um, and I lived that way for a while. I took the name Sam as a genderqueer person because my thinking was they can assume I'm a boy, they can assume I'm a girl, but they just don't have to talk to me about it. And I liked living that way for a while, and I was comfortable with that way for a while until I started doing drag. Um, when I started doing drag, I started realizing just how much I like being seen as a male, having like facial hair and binding and just everybody perceiving me as male and as my character Sawyer versus who I was living as at that time. Um, the very first person I came out to is actually my drag mom, Scarlett Sapphics, and shout out. She was amazing. From the time that we met, she wanted to make me her drag son, and so she would do my makeup for me. She would help me with my performances. She would help me put together looks and stuff like that. And I remember there was this one day that I was getting ready to go out and drag, and I was my first time experiencing dysphoria. Um, I realized that I couldn't get my chest the way to look the way that I wanted it to. At the time, I wasn't binding. I was just using a couple sports bras, and it just wasn't giving me the same effect that it used to. I just wasn't happy with it. And I remember having a breakdown in her tiny shoebox of a dorm room and just like being so upset because I finally realized that this wasn't the body that I wanted and this wasn't the body that I felt comfortable. It wasn't me. And so I told her that I was trans, and she was really there for me. She used to show me a bunch of videos and talk to me about all the things about trans. Like she would go on Google and YouTube and all this different stuff and just talk to me about it. And it was really helpful having somebody that could help me through that. Um, a few months after I came out to her, I started coming out to different friends and family. The first family member that I came out to was my dad, and I did that through text, mainly because my dad and I don't live in the same state, and it was the easiest way to get a hold of him. But it was also because I wanted to do it in a way that could give him the time to process and think about it before he responded to me. Um, so I sent him a text basically just being like, Dad, I know that I've come out to you before, but it's time to do it again.
Round two.
Yeah, round two. And he was like, okay, well, what's going on? Like, he asked me the usual, are you on drugs? Are you pregnant? Like, what do I have to expect? And I was like, no, Dad, thank God it's nothing like that. However, I am trans, and this is gonna be a fun ride for sure. And he responded pretty vaguely. He told me that he loved me. He told me that he would support me, and we kind of left it at that. But a few days later, he came back and texted me and basically told me that he and his wife had gone and watched a bunch of documentaries about what it's like to grow up trans, which like kind of floored me. I never expected them to do that. They literally just like took hours of their day to just like go figure out what it was like to grow up as someone like me. And he told me that he understood and that he was sorry that I had to experience that, and that he was sorry that I had to grow up feeling this way, and that he understood and that he wanted to be there for me. Um, he was very supportive. Since day one, he's called me his son. He called me Sam. He's never once slipped up. He tells all his friends, he tells his new girlfriend that he has a son. I'm no longer anybody else to him. Which is incredible. I could not have asked for a better experience with that. And he also lets me stay on his insurance. he recently changed his insurance and even kept in mind my top surgery needs, which is incredible, and chose a company that would help me pay for my top surgery. So, all in all, everybody's been super supportive. Even my Southern Baptist Church family, where all my family basically goes to the same church, all in Virginia. Like, I honestly never expected them to show me so much love and support. So yeah, I really lucked out. I'm a really lucky guy.
Yay.
And you?
Me. Uh, I guess there's been like so far with me coming out like three main people or circumstances, I guess I'd call it. Uh, the first one, I came out at work to a coworker, another server, um, not knowing if like these people were trans allies, if they even knew what trans really was, and yeah, I came out to her, and it was received horribly. There's just like a lot of mean words towards me, but I knew it came from just ignorance, her not knowing, and through conversations and open minds, I was able to explain myself, and she was no longer being mean to me, and we actually ended up falling in love and getting into a relationship. So that is one happy ending of me coming out. Um, Another one is when I came out to my mom. I wrote her a letter, and because like Sam said, it's just the best way to go about it. Something where they can read it, and they can read it at their own pace. When they're alone, whatever they're comfortable with, and be able to process all the emotions they're going to go through after reading that. Um, so yeah, it took me a couple weeks to even write the letter, and then in a couple weeks I sat on that letter. I was so nervous, um, and then it took me hearing when Trump wanted to ban transgender people from the military. It was that day. I was waiting for the right day. It's like, Rico, it's just gonna come where it's like I need to do this. And when I learned about that, I was like, this is a guy that my mom supports, and I want her to see like the people he's targeting, how close it hits that home for her. And yeah, that just gave me the guts to mail that letter. And she read it, and as soon as she read it, she gave me a phone call. And long story short, she just said how the older she is now, she's realizing how important relationships are, and that she still, of course, wants to be a part of my life. Which I thought it would go terribly wrong because I came out to her before, when it came to my sexuality, and it was not received well. But that was many, many years ago. Um, so that was a really happy ending. It's just the start, though. It's to a long journey of having a parent being able to fully digest what you just told them. Um, and when I came out to my job in general, how I did it was I would just tell a couple coworkers every day, and word will spread. I didn't make it a big show to have everyone down. I was just like, yeah, I'm trans, blah blah blah. My coworkers, the servers, like, mostly took it well. It just when it came to management and back of house, like the kitchen, it wasn't received well at all. The managers would continue to use the wrong pronouns, which would get very confusing. My tables are using the right ones, my coworkers are using the right ones, but when the managers are talking about me, they're using the wrong ones. So it's very confusing, and it was very, very frustrating. And I had to deal with that for months, and I realized that it doesn't matter how low my voice will get or how much hair I'm going to grow on my face, they're still going to use the wrong pronouns. That was something I had to accept and just move on from. And the worst it got was just the cooks in the back. Once they found out my birth name, one guy would just tell anyone who was willing to listen, like, what my birth name is, which is super inappropriate. And I did confront him, and then he just took the biggest kitchen knife in the kitchen and just put it to my chest. It was like super, super creepy, and but that guy always had an issue with me, and yeah, just harassment. That was the worst of it. I am really surprised, like, me coming out, how, I guess I have little faith in people. I'm surprised, like, how people have taken it in my life, which I thought would be worse, but it's been good so far. Alright, so that's it for our coming out experiences. Next week we are going to do dysphoria. It's going to be fun. No, stop.
That's fine.
It's gonna be a heavy episode, y'all, but it's important. It's
Yeah.
important to talk about.
As far as the dysphoria goes, we plan on talking about what dysphoria means, what it's like having dysphoria, and then how to handle it, ways that we've handled our personal dysphoria. I know a lot of people are always asking, like, how can I pass better, or what can I do to seem more masculine so people will gender me correctly, or how do I feel more comfortable in my own body. So we're definitely going to try to touch on that a little bit too.
So yeah, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, like it, comment, share, all that fun stuff, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.